In the previous episode, Han Li and his uneasy alliance launched a coordinated ambush against the two-headed Elder Devil. While Grand Immortal Shu and Lin Yinping confronted him head-on, Han Li concealed his trump cards, waiting for the perfect opening. The battlefield erupted with blazing fire, freezing mist, rainbow light, and devilish shadows as both sides clashed with overwhelming force. At the end of the previous episode, Han Li finally struck from underground with his thunder-infused sword, wounding the Elder Devil badly. Yet the creature survived, emerging battered but enraged, splitting his massive saber into twin blades as he lunged toward Han Li with murderous intent. What will happen next? Stay tuned. The Elder Devil swung his newly split sabers and released countless palm-sized black crescents in a dense barrage towards Han Li. He took no notice of the other cultivators and was hell-bent on pursuing him alone. The air trembled as the black crescents surged forward, spinning like deadly moons, each one cutting through space with a lethal sharpness. Han Li, standing calmly amidst the chaos, made no abrupt movement. Instead, he raised his sleeve and, with a subtle wave, summoned a small shield. The shield expanded rapidly, forming a protective barrier that encompassed his entire front. It was not just a physical shield, but one imbued with spiritual energy, able to withstand the sheer ferocity of the Elder Devil's relentless assault. Han Li glanced at the towering fiend before him and exhaled lightly, a faint sigh escaping his lips. The Elder Devil paused for a moment, taken aback by the composure in Han Li's demeanor. But this hesitation was short-lived. He quickly regained his focus and sensed a strange, subtle pressure beneath him. Before he could process it, a figure emerged abruptly from the ground behind him, a bright flash of yellow light revealing the horned woman, Gui Ling. She had been concealed beneath where Han Li had initially stood, waiting patiently for the perfect moment to strike. With a feral cry, Gui Ling swung her massive silver axe down from above. The sheer force of her spiritual energy caused the ground to quake violently, leaving foot-deep holes in the soil. The Elder Devil's eyes widened, and he ceased his assault on Han Li. Recognizing the imminent threat, he swung his twin sabers in a swift cross, summoning two black blades of light to intercept the descending axe. The collision was catastrophic. Black and silver light erupted, a tumultuous storm of energy that sent shockwaves in every direction. The axe halted briefly, the Elder Devil's blades struggling to resist the crushing downward momentum. But in that brief moment, he clasped his hands together, chanting an incantation, with a sound like breaking bones. His body swelled in size, his clothes shredding as black, scale-like armor emerged, inky devilish energy swirling around him. His flesh wriggled and healed itself as if alive, and a deadly aura radiated outward. Gui Ling did not falter. Her body expanded violently, green armor enveloping her as the silver axe grew in proportion. She brought the axe down with renewed force. The Elder Devil, now larger but momentarily unprepared for her sudden transformation, stopped his incantation and raised his blades to meet her attack. The impact sent a resounding boom through the area, shaking the air with pure force. He managed to fly backward, using the momentum of the clash to distance himself while maintaining a mocking smile. However, he was far from finished. He raised an azure halberd in one hand, ignited in black flames, and hurled it at Gui Ling with the speed of a meteor. The weapon struck her green armor with a blinding flash. Before he could stabilize, he began preparing another incantation, intending to unleash even more devastating techniques. One attack would not be enough to annihilate the relentless horned woman. Then, something entirely unexpected occurred. A faint black light appeared 3 meters behind the devil, and an inch-long crystalline black blade materialized silently. In a blink, it vanished. The Elder Devil sensed an ominous premonition and attempted to retreat. But it was too late. One of his heads felt as though it had been pierced, spiritual agony shooting through him. A thin red line appeared at the base of one head, and then, suddenly, it fell to the ground, blood gushing in a violent fountain. Han Li had used his great development technique, deploying a simplified form of the Soulfright Thorn called the Spirit Stun Thorn. Though weaker than the full power of the Soulfright Thorn, it was devastating against an unprepared opponent, leaving the Elder Devil stunned and vulnerable. Even a being of his might could not react in time. The remaining head of the elder devil howled in rage and pain as his body erupted with devilish energy, attempting to recover. Yet, the spell and the strike had left him gravely injured. In a surge of black spiritual energy, he disappeared from sight only to re-emerge 16 meters away. Battered and humiliated, the scene had unfolded in mere seconds, leaving onlookers dumbfounded. Their original plan had been merely to distract the elder devil, not to seriously injure or slay him. Yet Han Li had anticipated every move and had orchestrated this outcome meticulously. Gui Ling had played her part perfectly, but the real mastermind behind the attack was Han Li. From his vantage point, he observed the elder devil's weakened state with a trace of derision. Every strike, every movement had been carefully calculated. The elder devil, unable to fully employ his secret abilities, had no chance to counter such precise and sudden attacks. As the elder devil reeled, Han Li prepared another strike. A silver light flared near the fleeing devil, and a new silhouette appeared. Fear flashed across the elder devil's eyes. The presence before him was unlike anything he had encountered, and for a moment, his senses were consumed by a pair of striking purple eyes, a bewitchment technique. Despite his spiritual acuity rivaling that of a peak late nascent soul cultivator, he could not react quickly enough. Emerald energy streaked toward him, rolling with thunder and golden lightning. Divine Devilbane lightning, the elder devil realized, but he was too injured and unprepared to evade or counter it. In an instant, Han Li appeared in a spark of silver lightning, releasing dozens of small golden swords accompanied by a massive purple flood dragon aimed directly at him. The timing was flawless. The elder devil's attention was so focused on Han Li that the black dagger escaped his notice. By the time he discovered it, it was too late. A thin red line flashed across the elder devil's neck, and in a single, clean stroke, his last remaining head was severed. Han Li's lips curved into a brief smile of triumph. Yet he did not linger in celebration. Even in death, the elder devil was not to be underestimated. The headless body raised its twin sabers, flinging two black streaks toward Han Li with explosive force. In the blink of an eye, the body ruptured into dense clouds of devilish energy, dissipating into the air but still radiating a threatening aura. Han Li's eyes narrowed. He could feel the lingering power in the devilish energy and knew he had to act swiftly. Without hesitation, he clasped his hands together in a precise incantation gesture. The purple flame flood dragon he had previously summoned erupted once more, spreading blazing purple embers in a cascade that covered an area of 30 meters. The fiery storm fell like a torrential rain, shimmering with lethal intent. Dozens of small golden swords, suspended in spiritual energy, shot forward. They sliced through the two black streaks the headless devil had sent flying, scattering them harmlessly into the air. Then, in a synchronized burst, the swords radiated golden lightning, forming a colossal net over the purple flames. The black devilish energy collided with the net, and a massive crackling sound echoed across the battlefield. The majority of the devilish energy froze into a solid block of purple ice, while the remainder was shredded by the lightning, evaporating into nothingness. Han Li's expression grew solemn. Raising his hands, he whispered the command, "Rupture." Instantly, countless golden lightning arcs leapt from the swords onto the ice, shattering it into countless shards. The soul of the elder devil, which had tried to hide within the remaining energy, was completely annihilated. Amid the remnants of the extinguished devilish energy, several treasures fell to the ground. Han Li's eyes immediately lit up when he noticed two familiar items. With a flick of his finger, arcs of golden lightning scattered the black threads surrounding them. They were the two bamboo cloudswarm swords, lost long ago in Devilfall Valley. Joy surged through Han Li as he tested the swords with a mental command. They rose into the air and returned gracefully to his hands. Relief washed over him. Though the swords had been sealed for a long time, he knew that a short period of tempering would restore them to full strength. The other cultivators could only stare in shock. Han Li had slain the elder devil with a precision and efficiency that left them speechless. Its soul had no chance of escaping, and even its lingering devilish energy had been utterly destroyed. They were baffled by his human-like puppet as well. wondering how Han Li had summoned such a powerful cultivator without them noticing. His concealment techniques seemed almost perfect, allowing him to hide in plain sight even from the most skilled observers. Despite their astonishment, the cultivators quickly regained their composure. They turned their attention to the gray barrier protecting the teleportation formation, which had isolated the formation from the outside world. Multiple attacks whistled through the air, crashing against the barrier. Spiritual light flared and rumbles shook the space. Yet to their frustration, the barrier held firm. Neither the devil's attacks nor Grand Immortal Shu's immense power could leave more than faint ripples. Their initial assumption, that they could escape easily following the Elder Devil's defeat, was now proven false. The Lion Hawk, frustrated by their slow progress, flailed its talons wildly, then unleashed golden shockwaves from its mouth. The barrier groaned and bowed under the strain, showing deep indentations but still standing. Grand Immortal Shu's keen spirit peacock spread its wings, releasing a gust of rainbow-colored light. Lin Yinping spat out repeated streams of silver light while the silver-winged Nightfiend condensed countless Ghostfiend threads into a massive python to strike at the barrier relentlessly. Every cultivator and demon present knew that breaking through this barrier was critical to escaping, and they spared no effort. In moments, spiritual energy completely enveloped the gray wall. The sounds of cracking began to ring through the air. Han Li and Gui Ling arrived amidst several blurs, their movements swift and decisive. The human-like puppet that had assisted them vanished from sight, leaving only Han Li's composed figure behind. His calm presence radiated authority, inspiring awe and fear in the other cultivators. With his timely arrival, the flags surrounding the teleportation formation howled, splitting apart and dissolving the barrier. Cultivators rushed toward the formation, desperate to escape, but before anyone could step through, several balls of light exploded, knocking them back to the ground. The battlefield became a tense standoff, cultivators backing away from each other as danger loomed. Grand Immortal Shu clutched an azure pearl in his hand, fury and disbelief in his eyes as he glared at Han Li. "Fellow Taoist Han, what are you doing?" he demanded. Han Li's smile was enigmatic. "I should be asking you that," he replied, his voice calm yet commanding. Golden swords hovered around him as he held the Triflame fan in his hand. The Nightfiend, wings wrapped around its body, glared coldly. "The first one to leave will be me. I don't trust any of you humans." Han Li's smile vanished, his voice turned icy. "This small formation can only transport 2 people at a time. If the formation is destroyed from the other side, where are we to go?" With that, the cultivators began to encircle the formation cautiously. Then, a cold, sweet voice rang out from the direction of the palace. "You killed one of my brethren in front of me? Don't even think about escaping." The force behind the words was chilling, and everyone could hear the fury laced within. The black-robed woman had sensed the death of her subordinate. She harnessed nearly half of the Black Wind Flag's immense power, overwhelming the Nine Truths' Devil Suppression formation entirely. Even the 8 Spirit Ruler could barely affect her. The 8 Spirit Beast Phantoms she had summoned were stalled by the flag's supreme energy. Her plan had been to deal with the formation first, then subdue the ruler. But the unexpected death of her subordinate ignited her rage. She released several crimson flags into the air, each glowing with spell seals. Blinding light flared as the flags surged to 30 meters in height. Purple incantation characters danced across the surface while black spiritual energy twisted along them. Tornadoes around her intensified, scraping away at the altars maintaining the Nine Truths formation. The golden blades of light attacked the winds, but the formation strained visibly under her power. As she drew closer to the palace, the 8 Spirit Ruler could only attack with its 8 Beast Phantoms, which the Black Wind Flag blew astray. The cultivators and demons trembled at the violent surge of wind and energy that followed her movements. The 3 factions faced one another, each aware that escaping through the teleportation formation first was now a dangerous gamble. Rumbling grew from the palace as dark clouds blocked the sky. A dozen black tornadoes converged, shaking the very air. Han Li felt a surge of dread. He quickly devised a plan. Let fellow Taoist Gui and fellow Taoist Lin teleport first. Gui Ling is a demon beast, and old friends of the Nightfiend and the Lionhawk. Once fellow Taoist Lin crosses over, fellow Taoist Shu will be more at ease. Then the Lion Hawk and fellow Taoist Shu will go, followed by me and the Night Fiend. We must hurry before we all perish." Despite their misgivings, Grand Immortal Shu and the others had no choice. They exchanged glances and nodded. Gui Ling followed Han Li's command, stepping into the formation with Lin Yinping. As they did, the formation glowed with white light, and a silhouette appeared within, leaving the others baffled. At that moment, the black-robed woman's cold, commanding voice resonated again. Primal chaos rend the heavens. From a distance, a pillar of pitch-black light erupted. It split the sky, one half bathed in clear sunlight, the other engulfed in a curtain of black. The other was engulfed in a curtain of black and soon grew to cover the entire sky. In nearly an instant, it spread above Han Li and company. Before anyone could respond, the black-robed woman coldly laughed. The bright pillar of light disappeared in the distance, and now everything was being immersed in darkness. The air grew heavy, almost suffocating, as shadows swallowed the landscape. Devil Ancestor Yuan Sha had used the Black Wind Flag's spatial abilities to seal everyone inside, cutting off any possibility of escape. Grand Immortal Shu and the other cultivators froze in shock, disbelief flashing across their faces. Panic quickly spread through the group. "Run!" one voice shouted urgently. "Yi, where is the person who just arrived?" another demanded. The formation isn't working. We can't leave," came a stammered exclamation. The chaos intensified as fear took hold. But Han Li's mind worked rapidly despite his sinking heart. He too had lost sight of the individual who had first activated the teleportation formation. He had not even glimpsed their appearance. But now, survival required focus. Blurring in an instant, Han Li reappeared before the formation. Lin Yinping and Gui Ling were already standing there, examining every corner with anxious expressions. Their brows tightly furrowed. Han Li's voice rang out sharply, tinged with urgency. "Let me look." Raising his hand, he struck the edge of the formation with a spell seal. It faintly lit up, casting a weak glow, but nothing else happened. His expression darkened as he realized the severity of the situation. Grand Immortal Shu and the silver-winged Night Fiend arrived at his side. Neither was familiar with spell formations, and the Night Fiend's sharp gaze met Han Li's. Concern evident. "Is there something wrong with the formation?" Han Li's voice was steady, though grim. "There is no problem with the formation. It is the Black Wind Flag blocking us. Until the seal is lifted, neither the formation nor we can move." The Night Fiend's voice rose with frustration. "How exactly can we manage that? Do you want us to kill that devil ancestor Yuan Sha? If we had such abilities, we would not need to leave in the first place." Han Li's glare silenced him. "Why bother asking? Keep your complaints to yourself. The devil is currently focused on the person inside the palace. Now that she has trapped us, she will not pay attention to us for some time. Let us use this time to devise a new plan." Though the Night Fiend's expression remained hostile, he fell silent, brooding thoughtfully. Grand Immortal Shu likewise seemed lost in thought. Lin Yinping and Gui Ling pressed their lips together, disappointment clear as they realized escape was impossible for the moment. Outside the formation, Devil Ancestor Yuan Sha stood with a sneer, surrounded by a black tornado. The winds gradually stilled, revealing the destruction she had wrought. Maintaining the spatial seal consumed much of the Black Wind Flag's power. But she no longer needed to contend with the Nine Truths Devil Suppression Formation, which had been obliterated. Only the masterless Eight Spirit Ruler remained, powerful but severely limited without the formation's support. She glanced around, evaluating her surroundings. The Eight Spirit Ruler's spirit beast phantoms were torn apart by gusts of wind, only to reform moments later. Unable to reach her, she remained calm, unwilling to leave the protection of the tornadoes surrounding her. Her gaze then returned to the person floating above the palace, the large-headed eccentric who had remained motionless since the battle began. Despite the baleful winds summoned by the Black Wind Flag, he was completely safe at the center of the palace. A glint of delight appeared in her eyes. "Fellow Taoist Yi, go ahead and take the Eight Spirit Ruler. Don't worry, I will watch over you and prevent Long Meng from attacking you," she said. her tone both teasing and commanding. The eccentric hesitated, uncertainty flashing across his face. "What, do you fear I will not protect you?" the black-robed woman said with a chuckle. Brushing her hair aside, she raised her arm toward the Yi clan cultivators in the distance, who had been accompanying a doppelganger illusion of their Grand Elder. The cultivators recoiled in fright at her action. With a flick of her fingers, several muffled pops echoed, and a blossom of crimson blood appeared on the foreheads of a Taoist nun and an elderly man. Their lifeless bodies fell instantly, the protective treasures and light around them utterly ineffective. The square-faced middle-aged man remained partially protected, his bone bracelet flashing brightly as it blocked the attack of a small translucent pearl. The gem, no larger than a thumb, exploded harmlessly. Even the mirage of the Yi clan Grand Elder's forehead was struck. Yet the illusion vanished without harm. "Yi!" one voice cried in alarm. "Huh?" another responded. "The shining moon band? No, a replica," the black-robed woman murmured, a hint of surprise in her tone. The eccentric frowned, his expression growing dark. "Sacred ancestor, what are you doing?" she replied casually, almost teasing. "Since you do not trust me, I need you to witness my abilities. Could it be that you still have a relationship with these people?" The eccentric snorted, slightly annoyed but remaining silent. His attention turned to the mirage of the Yi clan Grand Elder, now motionless. At the same time, the two Yi clan cultivators' corpses ruptured, releasing their nascent soul energies in a panic toward the square-faced man. With a brief, icy expression, he retracted his bone bracelet momentarily, allowing the two souls to enter his sleeve before resealing it. Throughout, his gaze remained fixed on the black-robed woman, fear evident. Seeing that she had demonstrated the extent of her power, the black-robed woman paid no further attention to the square-faced cultivator. She addressed the eccentric once more. "So long as you help me take the 8th spirit ruler, your task is complete. After escaping, I will infuse your body with devilish energy and extend your lifespan. When I deal with the demon inside, you will not need to attack. Could it be that you cannot perform this simple task?" Her tone turned icy, and her black and white eyes now bled crimson. The eccentric's expression hardened. He understood the seriousness of her words and the danger he now faced. He gritted his teeth and moved decisively toward the 8th spirit ruler, taking the risk despite his hesitation. A sudden cold snort echoed from the palace below. The space above distorted violently, and a massive fist, 30 meters wide, appeared instantly, smashing down as though the sky itself had fallen. Dense spiritual pressure radiated from the blow, shocking him to his core. He attempted to retreat, but the black-robed woman's chuckle accompanied a flick of her fingers. The massive fist exploded and scattered into specks of white light, removing the immediate threat. Relieved, the eccentric flashed forward in a streak of yellow, closing the distance toward the 8th spirit ruler. Yet before he could reach his target, he sensed a nearly imperceptible sigh. A streak of black-red swordlight appeared, slashing toward him with deadly precision. "The black blood blade!" he exclaimed in alarm, hastily summoning one of his small yellow swords, expanding it to 3 meters, creating layers of sword images around him. He flipped his hand, releasing a small white bottle, spraying a mist to blur the incoming attack. The black-red blade shredded the mist, expanding to 10 meters in length before cleaving downward. The eccentric panicked, using all his abilities, incantation gestures, sword illusions, and a flying pitchfork, to block and slow the impact. Despite these efforts, the weapons began to crack under the force, spitting black blood in defiance. He narrowly managed to resist, flashing through the air to evade further damage. Seeing his maneuvers, the black-robed woman's expression remained icy. With a casual flick of her finger, she summoned a faint white silhouette into view above the palace. It was the Yi clan Grand Elder, clad in white robes. His expression was neutral, but a small hole was visible in his chest. It was positioned right above his heart, and it wasn't bleeding. At the same time, the Yi clan Grand Elder was forced to appear. The black-red blade of light was weakened. With a flash, it dimmed and exerted less force, allowing the large-headed eccentric to block both the huge sword and the silver pitchfork. Seizing the moment, The eccentric pushed forward, propelling himself out of the immediate danger zone. His eyes glinted with determination, ignoring the wound on his chest as he narrowly evaded the lethal strike. Meanwhile, the Yi clan Grand Elder's gaze remained locked on him, stern and unforgiving. Where do you think you are going? The Black Blood Blade is the Yi clan's legacy treasure, used to execute traitors. Since you have colluded with this elder devil and abandoned our clan, do not blame me for being ruthless, he said, his voice echoing with righteous anger. The eccentric merely sneered in response, his expression showing no fear or remorse. His contempt was evident, contrasting sharply with the scholar's formerly elegant demeanor, now hardened into resentment and hostility. The black-robed woman, observing the scene with a slight frown, noted that her previous attack had not killed the man. She raised her hand, summoning her power with a casual yet precise motion. Without the slightest effort, 5 crystalline beams, each half a foot long, shot from her hand at incredible speed, streaking toward the Yi clan Grand Elder. The scholar, however, made no attempt to dodge. Instead, he spat out a fire-red disc, which spun in the air, enveloping him in blinding red light. The 5 claws of light collided with a massive white hand that appeared instantly, shattering the beams with ease. The black-robed woman could only watch, her expression tense, as the scholar's defensive power revealed the depth of his abilities. From the palace, Long Meng's cold laughter echoed through the air. Yuan Cha, if you can ally with humans, so can I. Did you think you could easily break the 8 spirit rulers' restrictions? Let me see how your devilish powers, which once dominated the mortal world, fare against a Buddhist attribute ruler. And even if you succeed, I still have some residual devilish energy I can use. She jeered. The black-robed woman's face grew stern, her gaze icy. No matter how much devilish energy you have, you are still merely a soul without a body. My victory is all but assured. With the vast stores of spiritual medicines on this mountain, using a little power is trivial, she retorted. Long Meng's voice faltered slightly. Spiritual medicines? She paused, her tone shifting, but before she could finish, the black-robed woman smiled subtly and flicked her fingers toward the enormous black wind flag hovering above. She struck it with a green spell seal. The flag quivered violently, black light dancing across its surface. A pillar of wind shot forth, disappearing briefly before reappearing in front of the square-faced cultivator. Without hesitation, the wind pillar engulfed him, scattering bits of black light and sending countless blades of wind toward him. Caught off guard, the cultivator immediately poured spiritual power into his bone bracelet, which formed a dazzling yellow protective barrier. Yet the onslaught was relentless. The black wind blades struck with strange abilities, creating openings in the shield that constantly reformed, eventually causing the barrier to shatter entirely. His face drained of color as the storm's force pressed relentlessly against him. Seeing no other choice, he spat out an azure sword and mounted it, flying out of the storm with desperate speed. The bone bracelet, nearly destroyed, was left behind. Survival required this risky maneuver, and he knew it could be his last. No. The Yi clan Grand Elder cried out in panic. But it was too late. The cultivator was swallowed by the black windstorm, his protective light exploding violently. A scream rang out as his body was shredded, leaving behind 3-inch-sized nascent souls. The souls clung together, desperate to escape, but the windstorm held them captive. The black-robed woman's eyes gleamed with cruel delight. She reached out to the gusts of wind, surrounding the nascent souls with white light that solidified, immobilizing them completely. Specks of black energy swirled, drawing the nascent souls into 3 small spheres. With her hands clasped in an intricate incantation, she chanted cryptic words, and the black light vanished, reforming the souls before her as if by magic. The Yi clan Grand Elder, seeing this, shouted fiercely, "Devil, stop what you are doing!" He swung the black blood blade toward her in a desperate attempt to intervene. "It is already too late," Long Meng said coolly. Crimson light flared from her eyes, engulfing the nascent souls. Their terrified expressions reflected their helplessness as their bodies shrank, the light of their essence being absorbed back into the black-robed woman's mouth. Every movement she made was fluid, practiced, and terrifyingly precise. The scholar's face had turned completely pale. Even the black blood blade trembled slightly in his hand before he forced his fury into control, returning the weapon to its normal state. "What is Senior Long Meng doing?" he shouted in disbelief. "You could have saved my clansmen with your abilities. Was your proposal for an alliance mere empty words?" Long Meng's cold snort was sharp. "Why would I save a few mid-nascent soul cultivators? Their spirit treasure replicas could not produce even a tenth of the original power. Do not mistake my intentions. I allied with you, not your clan," she said icily. The scholar's frustration grew. "Even so, are you not afraid the devil will regain strength after consuming the nascent souls?" Long Meng's eyes narrowed, calculating. Devouring nascent souls will temporarily raise her magical power, but she will need to consume a vast amount of devilish energy to refine them. She plans to use your body's abilities as a Silvermoon wolf rather than her own. Isn't that right, Yuan Sha? Yuan Sha's response was confident. "Indeed, you know the power your body possesses. I had considered conserving some strength to break the 8 spirit rulers' restrictions, but it would have taken too long. To prevent surprises, I will fully utilize your late deity transformation stage abilities to crush all opposition." She clasped her hands in an incantation gesture, silver light coalescing around her and forming a small silver sun. Within the radiant sphere, the howls of a wolf echoed, and an overwhelming pressure descended upon the land. The earth trembled violently as if ready to crack under the weight of the immense power. The silver light pulsed and expanded, revealing a colossal 2-headed wolf, its size rivaling that of a mountain. One head was silver, eyes shut in serene calm, while the other was black, teeth bared in furious aggression, eyes burning with hatred. The sheer magnitude of the beast, its claws the size of buildings, and the crushing spiritual pressure it radiated made everyone present feel their blood run cold. The wolf's claws appeared incredibly incisive and its heads were the size of small buildings. But the sheer gargantuan mass and spiritual pressure caused everyone who glanced upon it to feel their blood run cold. Following the huge wolf's descent into the world, Han Li and the others slowly surrounded a silhouette glowing in red light. The 4 stared at the person with unrestrained hostility. The atmosphere was tense, every movement measured and careful, as the cultivators held their positions. From a distance, both the silver-winged night fiend and the lionhawk observed, deliberately refraining from involving themselves in the confrontation. The glowing figure, a man appearing around 50 years old with a kindly expression, glanced nervously at each of his surrounding adversaries. "Fellow Taoists, why are you surrounding me? I haven't done anything to offend you," he asked, his voice betraying a hint of anxiety. Grand Immortal Shu did not soften his tone. "Why are you acting so stealthily after just arriving? If you harbor no sinister intentions, surely you would have approached with a clear plan, rather than hiding among us," he said sharply. The man, Master Scatterwind, stammered defensively. "Fellow Taoist must be joking. I risked entering knowing the number of experts present. Since I cannot tell friend from foe, it is natural to proceed cautiously." Lin Yinping's eyes narrowed, her expression one of suspicion. "Is that so? Then why did you hide behind me? Your movement techniques are certainly remarkable. Were it not for the keen spirit peacock sweeping past you, I doubt anyone would have discovered you." Scatterwind's attempt to explain was interrupted. Han Li's voice cut through the tension with a cold, decisive edge. "Before I entered the pagoda, you attacked me. I caught a glimpse of you fleeing, and faint traces of malevolent blood energy from that vicious blade cling to your body. It has devoured many nascent soul cultivators, and all who entered with you are dead," he declared, his tone unwavering. Grand Immortal Shu and Lin Yinping felt a chill down their spines. Scatterwind's smile faltered, replaced by a tense shake of his head. "Fellow Taoist Han, that is preposterous. There is no blood energy on me. Why would a wandering cultivator possess a treasure capable of killing those of equal cultivation? You accuse me without evidence," he protested. Han Li's expression hardened. "Evidence? The dead bodies are evidence enough," he said, his voice low and menacing. Without hesitation, he spat out an inch-long golden blade that darted directly at Scatterwind. The tension in the air escalated instantly. Scatterwind's panic showed as he raised a blue flying sword with a flick of his sleeve to intercept the attack. Sparks erupted where the weapons clashed, the space around them flickering with violent light. Han Li's golden blade flared as he formed an incantation gesture, its light exploding with power. The blue sword shattered into fragments on the ground, followed quickly by Scatterwind's azure shield, shredded without resistance. Even Grand Immortal Shu's eyes widened slightly at the ferocity of the strike. The golden sword arced toward Scatterwind's head, forcing him to react. A flash of white light propelled him forward, yet Gui Ling and Immortal Shu moved in tandem to block his path. Cornered, he twisted desperately, but Han Li's golden blade split into multiple copies. Striking from above, Scatterwind's crimson light countered the assault, creating a dozen violent streaks that collided with the golden sword copies. Each clash resounded with a metallic clang, the air thick with the oppressive scent of blood. Han Li remained calm, eyes narrowing but betraying no concern for his sword as it absorbed the impact with effortless precision. Eventually, Scatterwind's attack revealed itself as a half-foot-long crimson blade, wrapped in a faint mist of blood. Han Li recognized it immediately. "That's a replica of the Devil Dragon Blade, isn't it?" he asked quietly, noting the aura emanating from the weapon. Even the demons present could not hide their surprise at the sight. Scatterwind's gaze, now fixed on Han Li's golden sword, revealed a mixture of awe and disbelief. Despite repeated attacks, the golden sword remained unscathed, a testament to its rare auric essence and incredible craftsmanship. Han Li's faint smile underscored his confidence. "Do not waste your breath. My flying sword is special, even if yours were stronger. Destroying it is impossible," he said as he recalled it back toward him. Scatterwind's confusion was palpable. "You do not intend to kill me?" he asked, unable to hide his astonishment. Han Li's grin was cold but measured. "Kill you? Why would I? You have not harmed anyone I care about, and I will not seek revenge on their behalf. If you truly are not the culprit I suspect, there is no point. However, since you possess such a powerful treasure, an alliance could benefit us both." Grand Immortal Shu's eyes flickered with understanding, his voice betraying a hint of approval. Han Li elaborated, "To leave this place, we must rely on brute force. The Black Wind Flag is a divine spirit treasure, but the Devil Ancestor is distracted and cannot fully wield its power. If we target a single point with concentrated strength, we may break the seal." The group discussed the practicality of his plan, though it required pinpoint coordination to avoid counterproductive interference. The sheer collective power of the nascent soul cultivators might suffice to shatter the seal without identifying a precise weak point. Grand Immortal Shu nodded, and even the silver-winged Night Fiend was swayed. "If this cultivator's blade can help us escape, then we should try it," he said with cautious optimism. Han Li turned back to Scatterwind. "You heard us. Helping break the seal will protect yourself as well. Surely you do not want the devil to consume your nascent soul." Scatterwind's expression remained calm, though his eyes betrayed contemplation. After a brief pause, he spoke. "Once we depart, we will go our separate ways. Yes? No further disputes?" Grand Immortal Shu's cold snort reinforced their understanding. "As long as you do not act against us, there is no reason to provoke conflict." Scatterwind's smile returned. "Agreed. If members of the High Zenith sect were present, I might hesitate, but now there is no obstacle." Plans were made swiftly, focusing on producing the greatest attack power at the right moment, without allowing their efforts to interfere with each other. Immortal Shu suggested involving Han Li's hidden ally, whose flying saber could be invaluable, but Han Li calmly refused. "Do not worry, he will assist naturally, though now is not the time for him to appear," he replied, masking his internal frustration. Finally, Master Scatterwind's expression shifted subtly. As he lowered his head, his lips moved, transmitting his voice to someone unseen. Moments later, he raised his head with a bright, beaming smile, unnoticed by those around him. Slowly, he stretched a hand behind him, growing dense, several-inch-long white fur, each strand as hard as a needle. A short moment later, he raised his head to the sky and wore a beaming smile. But no one seemed to notice. He then stretched his hand behind him and grew dense several-inch-long white fur from it. each one as hard as a needle. In this episode, we saw the intense struggles and strategic moves of Han Li and his allies as they faced overwhelming power and dangerous enemies. From being trapped by the Black Wind Flag to witnessing the terrifying might of the two-headed wolf and the devastating abilities of the black-robed woman. The tension never eased. We also saw the reappearance of the mysterious Bloodblade and the clever maneuvering of Master Scatterwind, as Han Li began to form critical alliances to break free from the deadly seal. This episode highlighted not only the ferocity of battle but also the importance of strategy, trust, and timing in their journey to survive and overcome impossible odds. What happens next? Stay tuned for the next episode of Immortal's journey to immortality. If you enjoyed this episode or found it exciting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to get the latest updates on Han Li's adventures. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.